Hey, it's Beth from Landmark Title. The numbers in our housing market are ever changing, so it is important to stay up to date with those changes. With Market Insight, we bring you the stats, facts, and figures to keep you and your clients informed. Join us now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Scott Kiburz here with an update on the June market stats for Maricopa County and surrounding areas. This is part of the Landmark Title monthly update. Today is the 1st. These numbers just dropped this morning. Sarah, let's get to work and share with the ladies and gentlemen out there what we're going to be talking about. There's going to be some updates on industry and the national view. We're going to have numbers on Maricopa County and individual cities at the end. We'll spend a little bit of time here on the front end with some national happenings. So pardon me until we get right into the hard numbers. There's a couple of things that are noteworthy to share. Let's go there, Sarah. Next. This is from Adam Grant, and I think this restates everything that was conveyed at the NAR legislate meeting that happened earlier this month in June in Washington, D.C. Being prepared for a new challenge isn't a matter of qualifications, it's a matter of contribution. Imposter syndrome says, I'm not ready. Growth mindsets, I'll get ready. The intent of these numbers is to help you be present and up to date and be ready about knowledge, insight with your buyers, sellers, co-workers, lenders, title people. And then the last sentence, the question is not whether you belong, it's how you can make a difference. And the older I become, the more it's important to serve and how can one best serve. Sarah, next. So one of the slides that came out of the Stefan Swanepoel conference in T360 in Florida early this month, or early May, I'm sorry, was, ladies and gentlemen, there's so much pressure in our market. So the first question is, what's controllable? What can I control? What can't I control? Just put common sense into that, put energy into that so it helps minimize fear and running around majoring in minor things. We want to improve our skills every day. The future is here, and get better now, not next week, not next month, today. The same way is no longer acceptable. We're changing at such a rapid, fierce pace. We always have to be learning based and ready to pivot and move forward. And ladies and gentlemen, if you ever are out there with your clients or title lending folks, always bring value. Last but not least, from the NAR legislate meeting out of DC, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear a broken record. Have your agents, especially your buyer agents, sign a buyer broker agreement. For all the brokers that might be listening in on this today, there's going to be a push on this. There are some states that are very good at this. There are some states that hardly do this at all. I'm going to guess Arizona and Maricopa County somewhere in the 30%, maybe 40. Ladies and gentlemen, to help us all as we move through these big lawsuits that are happening at the NAR level, the one thing that each one of us can do better is have a buyer broker signed in the transaction. Sarah? So the next thing that was great perspective is we have a change in consumer and they consume information differently. The chat GPT is something that we didn't talk about 8 months ago, and it's on everybody's doorstep today. Everybody can consume information at a very rapid pace. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to restate the obvious. The consumer is looking for you and I to help make sense and do the proper next steps in a buy-side transaction or a list-sell-side transaction. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, take your time with this slide here, but this was a great update from the Swanepoel T360 of what the market looked like in terms of search, transactions, data, advertising from the various decades. And just know, please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking at listing marketing in the light blue, AI-generated listings is going to be a thing of our future, and automated predictions is going to be another thing of our future. And AI property search is going to be a thing. If it's not already in your future, it's going to be happening right away. Next. Just to give big national perspective, ladies and gentlemen, 80% of all the 1.5 million realtors are in just 22% of the associations. I'd love to tell you the total number of associations at the national stage. I don't know that number, but only 22% hold 80% of the 1.6 million realtors. On the flip side, when you look at the MLSs, we're part of Arizona Regional MLS. There's Bright MLS out of Maryland. There's California Regional. Those are two of the biggest. Just 4% of the 525, 530 MLSs at the national stage, just 4% of those house or impact 50% of the 1.6 million realtors. Just a great way of looking at the bigs are getting bigger. That applies to associations. It applies to MLSs. It applies to companies that provide services for realtors. It applies to people like CoStar. The bigs are getting bigger. Next. An update. We have a new commissioner, Susan Nicholson. I was fortunate to see her speak about water here recently, but this week, Tuesday, I believe it was Mandy Neat's first day on the job as the deputy commissioner, working closely with Susan Nicholson, our new commissioner. Mandy comes from Realty One out of Paradise Valley, great leader, great communicator, a lot of energy, and she is going to come alongside the commissioner with the knowledge about real estate. So look for things like 1 hour CE classes instead of 3. Look for a quicker turnaround time. Brokers out there, your monthly sales meetings, if they're an hour long, look to get to a school and get your agents an hour CE credit for just sitting in, taking that information in. I know we're going to be going to a 1 hour training of numbers like this, and please know it's our intention to get you for those that can be there live, 1 hour CE credit. There are going to be some changes at the commissioner level. Mandy's going to come alongside Susan Nicholson and help implement that change. Good things are going to continue to come. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to stop here again. I don't want to be a broken record, but it's important to be a broken record. Our economy, our technology at the national level, our government, our societal shifts are at essentially a 10 right now, a 10 out of 10. And so there is pressure in interest rates and lending and inflation and water and building, and the trillions of dollars are going to be spent on infrastructure in our country in the next 2 or 3 years. There are huge shifts coming. And so as you look down to your little local real estate business, I just want you to be aware of those pressures, those changes. And I also want you to minimize your fear and focus on what you do best. And one of the top 3 things you can do is know your market. Thus, we're going to continue to keep doing this report on a monthly basis. Next. So here we go with the numbers that just look in a column, and these just came down this morning. What I want to point out to everybody on the call today is second line down, total actives in Maricopa County are at 8526 as of this morning. My personal bellwether has always been the total number of single family. Well, we're down to 6,456. That's a pretty low inventory for the millions of people we serve in Metro Phoenix. Also, coming soon continues to go down a little bit. Pending are down today versus this time last month, but look at the total sold we had in all the MLS at 8,085, and in Maricopa County 6,577, and total single family 5,185 last month for the month of May. Those are good numbers. Next slide. So I always like to give a little bit of perspective here. We hit a low at 4,000, give or take, in Maricopa County active listings with the 153 zip codes in our metro. That worked out to a low of 26 listings per zip code. Ladies and gentlemen, when I started doing this slide about 6 months ago, we were at about 13,000 homes. We're down to 8,597. So we're 56 listings per zip code right now. And another data point that came out of the national stage in our DC, was that nationally, there were 560,000 active listings nationally. When you divide that by the 1.6 million realtors, it works out for one listing per every 3 realtors nationally. Just want to give perspective out there. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a NAR slide from Lawrence Yoon, the chief economist for NAR, and he did a great presentation. It's on the nar.realtor website under statistics and presentations. This is not exclusive just to me. He did present this in DC earlier this month. But take a look that Phoenix got identified here, and we're out about 8 to 9% down in home values. And we're leading the country right now in the top 4 of home prices going down. Now, we did have a huge run up the last 36 months and currently down overall about 9%. We'll go deeper into that later in the presentation. Next. Okay, this is a great insight about jobs and what's happened after the COVID situation. And Arizona is in mid, not dark blue, but certainly blue at 5.6% gain in jobs. And that's outstanding. Utah has done well, and Texas and Florida have done well, in Idaho, but we're right up there in terms of our gains in jobs. Next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a forecast of homes being new and existing homes selling for the balance of 2023. The 2023 F is a forecast of what they're going to see. It's going to be in the 5 million range. They're anticipating 2024 to be a better year with an increase in the blue new home sales, 2024. And we're going to be right up against 6 million homes. That's a lot of business, ladies and gentlemen. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, single family being built and going straight to rental. Just want to point out that the blue line up and down, it zigzagged a little bit, but in 2022, it has taken off again, and it's going to equal about 7% of our market share at a national level. There are more and more homes being in this category in Maricopa County, surrounding counties. One of the opportunities of taking and building a subdivision of 100 to 300 homes that go straight to rental is you get to bypass the 100-year water supply guarantee. And so that's interesting news out there. It does get homes into our marketplace, but that's one of the things that you're not mandatory. If you build homes and go straight to rental, you don't have to provide a 100-year water supply. Next. I believe this is the last slide from NAR, and what I want to give texture for here is a long-term forecast. And really what they're saying is we're going to build more single-family homes than ever. But by the year 2030, we are going to slow down. That's going to weaken. That we'll finally have that tipping point in our societal shift, that demand will weaken for multifamily and single-family in the year 2030. 7 years is not that far out, ladies and gentlemen. Next. Oh, and I believe this one, I apologize. This is the last one here. This is looking at single family home starts. And what they're showing here is Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale, our number of units, 26,000, but that's 24% down. It's the highest percent down of the cities that were ranked of the 10 top in the past. And that is going from 21 to 22. Next. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Going to get on my soapbox here for a minute because there's some exciting news happening. Okay, first and foremost, active units in Maricopa County at 8515. That is all properties in Maricopa County, not Pinal County in that specific report. Now, if you look hard at the under contract, we have a lot of homes as a percent that are going under contract. Now, if the buyer agents, listing agents are out there and they're talking to their title people, one of the best questions I would want to know from my escrow officers right now, and I apologize I didn't get a chance to ask this in advance, is there a higher percent of homes falling out in the under contract period due to not being able to qualify, not being able to come to an agreement on a seller contribution or the terms that a higher percent of homes are canceling. We definitely have a high percent that are under contract. Visually, what I also want you to see in the bottom left, sold to list price ratio, those are our median and average are gliding just under the 100% ratio. And then last but not least, as a visual, and this is a great one to blow up and share with your buyer and or seller, is you can see the dip in home prices that happened November, December, January. And ladies and gentlemen, we are on a slight rise coming here into April and May. Home prices are going up overall in spite of the higher interest rate. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, here, this is the absorption rate and supply and demand. Our absorption rate was over 70% as we went into the beginning of June here, meaning there are fewer homes coming to the market, more homes going under contract, and our month of supply is now down to 1.42 months. And the red bars going left to right just show the number of homes that are being under contract and absorbed. So we're currently at 70.3%. Next. All of Maricopa, all of Pinal County aggregated together in the yellow, ladies and gentlemen, we're down 10.5% as of today, the first of the month. Next slide, Sarah. I wanted to break that out and put on your left as you're looking at your screen, ladies and gentlemen, that is Maricopa County, and on your right is Pinal County. And so I just wanted to highlight the differences there. In yellow, Maricopa County is down 10.1%, and the average sale price of all Maricopa County, $261 a square foot, down from $290 a year ago. The Pinal County, down 8.7%. They're at $200 a square foot, down from just $219 a year ago. So I share that with you because that split in terms of home values, $60 a square foot on average is pretty significant. And so I have these separated out for you. Next slide. This is all of Maricopa County. We're going to spend some time here. And ladies and gentlemen, when we get to the individual cities later, I just want you to know what you're looking at. So in top left blue, active listings, 8515. Ladies and gentlemen, active listings right below the phrase in red are down 7.13% in the last 30 days. They're down 23% in 3 months and down 42% in 6 months. This time a year ago, they're up 20%. Now look hard under blue under contract, 7450. That's down just 3%, but it's, if you slide down to new listings at 6153 and you go back up to the under contract at 7450, ladies and gentlemen, that's about 1,300 doors more going under contract a month than there are new listings coming on board. What does that mean? I call it the burn rate. We're going to continue to burn off our listing inventory if this continues, because there's a great statistic out of NAR that was presented that, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at all the homeowners that have a mortgage in the United States, 70% of the people who own homes and have a mortgage, their mortgage rate is at 4% or less. 4% or less, 70% of the population. What does that tell you? Ladies and gentlemen, with interest rates in somewhere in the low sevens, mid to high sevens today, people don't want to leave that interest rate, and maybe they want another bedroom, maybe they need a garage, maybe they need to be closer to work. They're not surrendering their current mortgage in their current home to have something bigger, more convenient, or smaller. They just want to hold on to that interest rate. So there's fewer of people going into the market. Combine that with this graph up here, that our under contract is very high compared to our new listings. If this keeps up for another 2, 3, 4 months at this rate, where we're actually under contract more than we're getting new listings, prices are going to surge. We're going to have multiple counter offers. Everybody still wants a home. We're fortunate in our economy in our local area. There's still hundreds of people a day moving to Phoenix, very sought after. So you've got to learn to navigate these intricate details and be very value add to your buyers and to your sellers. Sarah, next slide. Here we go with just the visual on the active listings. You can see that we peaked in October, September, October. That is when the iBuyers just started dumping their properties and they got rid of them. There was no emotion in that sell of that home. When the iBuyer thing changed, homes went on the market. If it didn't sell this week, chances are it got a price decrease the next, and we burned off that inventory. In the last 4 months, ladies and gentlemen, we have steadily been going down in our active inventory in Maricopa County, and that's a great visual for that effect. Next slide. Here we go with under contract. So we did not hit quite as high as we did in April, but this is as of January or June 1. So 7,450 was for the full month of May. And that is a good run for us, ladies and gentlemen. You're going back to April of 22, February 22, way before the interest rate things kicked off. We're getting houses, contracts are getting done. Everybody's working hard. Hopefully everybody's working in concert. Next slide. Here we are with solds for the month. This is tapping out at 59.90 for Maricopa County. That's been a good month compared to the last 8 months. Next. New listings. Here's the visual on this. Normally we would have seen come January, February, March, the spring buying and selling season, and we would see 9, 10, 11,000 homes instead of low 8s or low 7s. This is an example of, again, 15, 25% of the people that would like to sell if they could, but don't want to leave that low interest rate. That's the other pressure that's coming down and going back to a national level. That's the economy's version of putting force in our industry. High interest rates for anybody coming in new and low interest rates for the people that were already fortunate to own a home. Next. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, with the various cities. So take a break here now. We've got about 25 cities. I asked Sarah to stop at 4 or 5, but first one I have you stop on is Cave Creek. Here we go. I should be next. Carefree. That's what I'm looking. Oh, Carefree. I'm sorry. Carefree. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look hard at blue and yellow. Our listings are up 136%. Wow. They're up from 19 to 45. So that's how you get 136%. This time a year ago, Carefree had very low inventory available. This is pre-interest rates change. Ladies and gentlemen, look hard in the yellow. Median sale price per square foot is up, not down, is up 24.2% to $424 a square foot. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just out there using common sense, why is that? This is the highest appreciating community in our metro right now, Carefree. It's become a low-cost alternative to Paradise Valley. Paradise Valley is just continuing to surge. It too is up overall, but its list price per square foot, ladies and gentlemen, has ascended over 1,000, approaching almost $1,100 a square foot list price. Paradise Valley is surging. The affluent, they're still buying homes. And please know that today, ladies and gentlemen, just under 40, it's 39.99% of home buyers today are buying with cash. So cash is king. And if they can put home as or money into a home as an investment, they're doing that. Sarah? Okay, so now we're going to explain some parts here why. This is the numbers behind the scenes. So our active listings are just 45, but our under contract, 35 out of 45 are under contract. That's up 50% in 30 days, 80% in 90, and 84% in 180 days. That market is surging as a percent. New listings are up 80% from a month ago, but they're just 29. So when you look at the spread of under contract at 35, some of those are going to fall out, I understand, but a high percent of those are going to go under contract and close, and we're only putting 29 new homes back into the market. The other thing I want you to focus on here on this slide, and I want to explain it to you, is in the pie graph in the middle, normal sale, 91%. And there is 8% that are being flipped. Now, 2 years ago, this time, ladies and gentlemen, 20% of the homes nationally were being fixed and flipped. Now, I want to explain this to you as well. So pause and just take this in, ladies and gentlemen. There's an algorithm in the MLS data that if a home is purchased, if I bought this home on June 1st today, and I sell this home and it closes in 180 days, 6 months, if it closes and sells to somebody else, there's an algorithm that says that is a flip, that qualifies as a flip home. So there was a time when I could buy a starter home, put in paint, carpet, appliance package, roof, tidy things up, flip the home in 60 to 90 days. That was very common. When you get to Carefree, where the average sale price is 700 and above, usually, when you get to Paradise Valley, when $1 million is usually entry level now, to update a home, sometimes, well, one, it takes more time, it takes more money. And if you're adding square feet or something like that to a PV home, that takes longer. So there have been fix and flips going on in Paradise Valley that don't hit that algorithm of 180 days because they acquire the home and they have to work on it for 9 months or a year or sometimes longer. And it doesn't appear in the algorithm as a fix and flip. We're going to point that out here in another second. Long story short, please pay attention to the digital graph, pie-shaped graph, normal, flip, and we also want to look too at new home sales. Next slide. So here we are in Cave Creek, right next door. It's down 4%. Next slide. They too, 66% of their homes went under contract, and new listings are only 61. It's right next door. It's a little bit different market, a little bit lesser expensive, but things are still moving very fast. Sarah, let's go slowly ahead, and I'm going to have you pause at Phoenix. I just want people to take a glance at this. Please know that this is now designed to be sent out to everybody in the audience, and you can stop wherever you would like, but let's pause when you get to Phoenix. And we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's pause here at Paradise Valley. Forgive me. Paradise Valley, listings are up 43%. Median home prices are up 15%. They're up 15%. Most expensive zip code in our state. They're up 15%. The median sale price is $756. The current average list price is over $1,000 a square foot right now. There is still people wanting to come to our state, and whether it's a primary residence, secondary residence, sometimes it's a fourth or fifth home, who knows. But we're still in a very desirable place with great infrastructure, great growth, great schools, great job opportunity. We're in fortunate times to be in Arizona, ladies and gentlemen. Next slide. We're going to stop right here for a second. So what I want to point out here is, again, under contract at 88, new listings only 48. Prior to the pandemic, we used to use this phrase, the load of luxury. The load of luxury in Paradise Valley at $1 million plus 5 years ago, you would have been listing your home late September, October, November, you were becoming late. And you wanted that home sold by the end of May, because the people that can afford a home at $1 million plus 5 years ago did not want to be here in the summer. Ladies and gentlemen, that's shifted due to the pandemic, and there are more and more people looking at Paradise Valley, not just locally, but nationally and internationally. And so to have 88 go under contract and just 48 new, we're going to burn this off really quite quick. Now, I wanted to pause here because of the circle graph. 85% of normal sales, new builds at 5.1 or 5.71%. That's happening. Flip is the big piece here. I have never seen flips in PV be so significant. 8.5%. Ladies and gentlemen, people are buying a home and updating it more so than a $300,000 home, but they're getting it already resold in 180 days. And that is significant. That's almost 9% of the market in PV right now. Next slide. Here we are in Peoria. And I'm going to ask you to stop. Here's Phoenix. This is where I'd like you to stop. Ladies and gentlemen, Phoenix really is right in the midpoint of all Maricopa County. We're down 8.4%. Our active listings are down 5%. There's still a massive number of people coming to Arizona every day, and Phoenix is a great city. Our prices are $275 a square foot, down from a high a year ago at $300. Next slide. We're going to stay here for a second. So active listings at 1693, down just 3%. Under contract at 1673. Basically, it's almost a tie for every active listing. This is almost like 100% absorption rate in essence when you look at under contract versus active. Now the solds are still pretty high as well at 1412. That's the official number for absorption rate. But what we've been doing here in our conversation earlier is looking at under contract versus active and under contract versus new listing, because that's also a different fortune teller look ahead at what's happening in our market. And so our new listings at 1493, and if we've got 1600 under contract, we're going to burn through those in 30 days and still have 1600 homes next month. This is an example of people with the low interest rate homes who are choosing not to sell and stay put. And what we're going to be watching for all of you out there is this going to cause a further increase in home prices and a further increase in creativity for the buyers to either get a seller contribution to buy down a loan rate, more gifts, seller wraps, seller carry, assumable mortgage. There are going to be creative ways that continue to evolve because of the uniqueness of our market. Next slide. Queen Creek, as we go through a couple more cities, I'm going to have you pause when we get to Tolleson, Sarah, and then we'll wrap up for today. And in Tolleson, what I wanted to point out for everybody, ladies and gentlemen, it's obviously it's far west side. Here we go. It's far west side. Our market here is down 10% from where it was a year ago, 212, very affordable. There's still a lot of growth happening out on the 303, a lot of jobs, all good things happening. When we look at active listings are down 23% to 42 from 55 a month ago. That's all interesting. Our month of supply is under 1 month there at 0.86. If we go to the next and final slide today, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to point out is this. Our active listings are 42, but we have 77 that went under contract last month. And like, how does that happen? I want to point out that in the pie graph in the center in black, that new builds in Tolleson are at a percent, we're just under 50% of what was happening out there in that market. And it's in growth mode. When you have new homes, and a lot of times the new home builders can have their own lending company and possibly offer some incentives. But I just want you to know that new homes are getting built. Our resale market is slow because people that would like to move don't want to lose that interest rate. And so we have to work smarter, and we have to be more and more in relationship. One of the keynotes that closed the Stefan Swanepoel T360 meeting early in May was the CEO president of Chipotle. I got to believe that most people watching today have eaten at Chipotle once or twice. Well, this gentleman named Monty Moran was an attorney first, and his client was Chipotle. And Chipotle's CEO at the time came in and said, came into his office and goes, "Gosh, you run a great operation here. I'd like you to be the CEO of Chipotle." And he said no for 4.5 years, but he asked him all the time. And finally he said yes. And when he took over the reins at Chipotle, there were just 200 and some stores. There's now several thousand globally. They went public, huge success story. But here is a conference that happens just once a year, the Swanepoel T360. In the audience are about 425 people, about 290 to 300 are CEOs. So it's a very high-level thought leadership conference. And this gentleman from Chipotle is the closing speaker. And his ultimate message was this: We need to have more love in the business world, not just at home, more love in the business world. And he says, we could not have grown by hundreds and thousands of stores without that. And the other thing that we teach, including love, is leadership, not management, leadership. Everybody leads in a different way. Everybody has different skills. The way I would lead an office or lead a restaurant or a brokerage or a team is different than a lot of other people because they have different skills. So he focused on leadership, 1, and 2, love. And so I'm trying to leave you with some humor as we close up and share appreciation with Landmark Title. The title of his book is simply called Love is Free, Guac is Extra. And I can tell you he was a very insightful 1-hour speaker leader, and clearly Chipotle at a national level is got the success behind it. And those were his foundational pieces. So with all the pressure that's in our market, from John Burns' perspective of government, societal changes, technology, and the economy, they're all 8, 9, or 10. You get to choose. We have to come back to our own gifts, look at leadership, look at love, highly communicative, do the right thing with a pure intent, and help our buyers and sellers win in this, what a lot of people would say, challenging market. The people that can help you along the way are the folks from Landmark Title. So shout out to them. They're there to serve. They got a pure intent. This information today is a pure intent. Good selling out there. I look forward to speaking with you again. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Join us every month on Market Insights to be the realtor in the know.